Shotgun Options traders and investors, Whiz here with your Wednesday SITREP. And unless you've been living in a cave for the past couple months, you know that today's two-day FOMC meeting concludes, and the Bernanke obviously will issue a statement, or the Fed will, and then the Bernanke will have a press conference afterwards. So what's going to happen? It's, in my opinion, nothing. It's going to be a non-event. The Fed's going to reiterate that any decision to taper, to ease, to end, whatever it is, choose the word you want to use, whatever with quantitative easing, is going to be data dependent, right? He's not going to come out and say, hey, we're going to do this in the fall, or, we're starting right now. None of those scenarios are going to happen, in my opinion. He's going to kind of maintain an even strain and say, conditions look good, blah, 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 to maybe consider kind of sort of saying last call on this liquidity binge that the market's been on. However, there's always a but or a however with a comma. Conditions still dictate that we're standing by to, increase our asset purchases if anything. So it cracks me up. All the 500-pound heads are inflating to 1,000-pound heads. Here's a real reason the Fed will taper. Fed likely to keep all options open. So opinions on what the Fed's going to do are everywhere, and now you just got mine. But I will tell you that even if he comes out with good news, the tendency historically with these Fed meetings is what we're seeing in the market right now, a run-up to the Fed announcement and then a sell on the news. I mean, we've had some, the past 2 days have kind of been monster days, right? And since last Thursday, we've seen a consistent, nice run-up of about 40 points in the S&P. That's a pretty healthy run here. So I think we might see a sell on the news event this afternoon, and I want to hook you up with a potential trade that I just sent out to my primary live trade brief traders, which is a hedge. It's a bullish double vertical on the VIX, so bullish on volatility. So if the Fed comes out and doesn't say anything other than this party continues forever, I think the market sells off a little bit and we get a nice spike in volatility on the VIX. So this is what's called a double vertical. It's a bull put spread, where I take in a credit, and then I use that credit, and I turn around and I buy a bull call spread. So it's a very bullish play, and this is out to July expiration, 40 contracts. I'm selling 40 of the July 17 puts and buying as a hedge in case vol implodes 40 of the July 13 puts. Okay, so there's the bull put spread. Now I'm turning around and buying a bull call spread, buying 40 of the July 18 calls, and selling 40 of the July 20 calls, okay? So my profit target on this, if the VIX spikes up to about $19, and it's definitely possible that the VIX can do that. Let's take a look. I mean, last Thursday, we got above 18, but let's take a look at the 3-month chart. We really haven't plumbed anywhere north of where we are right now in a long time. Let's take a look all the way back to, there it is, the fiscal cliff, right? So my profit target, if the VIX spikes up to about 19, is about $2,000, $2,500 on this trade. If the VIX implodes down to 16 and the market rallies, that would be a $2,000 loss, and that would be my eject point. Okay, obviously this trade, the higher the VIX goes, the more money this trade makes. And obviously, I'm going to try and adjust my fill here. I was trying to get filled at 45 cents, now 40 cents, and I'm actually going to go down to about 35 cents to try and get filled on this trade. This is the cool thing, folks. You can potentially place this trade for a credit. I love double verticals that pay me, quote unquote, to have a strategic mindset such as this. If you really believe your strategic mindset is sound, and it should be, or you shouldn't be placing an individual trade, then why not take a look at a double vertical? And a double vertical is simply two spreads that are the same strategic mindset, in this case bullish, on top of each other. Now, the good thing about options is, you know what, Whiz? I think you're smoking the Fed's hopium. I think he comes out and says, we're going to buy until the cows come home and vol's going to implode. You know what you could potentially do is invert that trade. Sell a bear call spread on the VIX, right? Maybe that 1820, and buy that bear put spread. So you can actually fly inverted with the trade I just demonstrated and potentially profit if you think that the VIX is going to implode. Love that about options. You can take a look at doing the exact opposite or taking the other side of the trade, which is great. FedEx came out with earnings today with a beat with their Q4 earnings. That's relatively good news. I got to dig, no kidding, into the announcement to read and see what their outlook is, because when a transport comes out and says something good, that's good. Dow theory and old stodgy cigar, Dow strategy says that transports tend to lead us into and out of a recession or doom and gloom. So with the transports kind of turning around and FedEx being a big canary in the coal mine, that's relatively good news for the overall economy. Not necessarily good news for the market, right? Remember, we're in bizarro market where good news, economic news, might not be good news for the market. All right, folks, I got to run. I have a live trading session here coming up. Hopefully, you signed up for our open house and you saw me yesterday with our primary live trade brief. Right now, our advanced live trade brief is going on with Doug, and then tomorrow morning at 0900, I'm going to be doing our weekly options live trade brief. Our 2 weekly options trades, risking about $10,000, are up about 28% or $2,800. Nice return on risk in about 3 or 4 days. So if you're interested in coming to our weekly options live trade brief tomorrow morning, or our kind of our Q&A webinar Friday afternoon, especially after this whole week gets done, I'm going to give you my strategic mindset about where I think we're sailing to and what the market's going to do. So go to topgunoptions.com/open-house and give it a look there. All right, folks, happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I'll see many of you tomorrow morning in our weekly options live trade brief. We'll see you.